great sweaty beast has returned. My God. I know I start this the same way every time, but God, I hate exercise. I really do. It's just the worst. There's just no way around it. But look what I get when I do it. I get to come and join you on the interwebs and say hello. Hello, interwebs. Yes, it is I, Hewlett, David Hewlett, and I'm here with another another Burn and Learn from the old Stargate man who's already forgetting where he is. Good Lord. Maybe I'm having a stroke or something. I just did my 31 minutes. Again, 6.6 kilometers of rowing on the ERG, the Concept 2. That is now done and dusted. Thank God. I am so disgustingly sweaty and tired. And so why not share that with you? Because I know this is what people want. I have no idea why, but for some reason. So what was the learn part of my Burn and Learn this time? It got a little messed up because it was This Week in Tech. No, was it This Week in Tech? No, it was Intelligent Machines from This Week in Tech, and they've launched on some kind of a meme story of some sort, babbling on about stuff, which is always hilarious, but doesn't do much for my learning. But they started by talking to the Wikipedia guy, the guy who created Wikipedia. And it's just such an interesting thing. I mean, Leo was saying that Wikipedia has literally changed the world. Like that the internet, that this is when you look at like what good has come from the internet, Wikipedia. And then there's the issue of what happens now. Like what happens when you've got this wave of AI slop? What happens when the bots descend? And I guess, I mean, the reality is, it's something that he pointed out that I thought was absolutely fascinating was, he said, look at Usenet. Like, go back to the early days of the internet. Go back to AOL. Go back to CompuServe. They were always dicks. They were always assholes out there. There were always trolls. There were always people who were going to say and do horrible things to get your attention or to piss you off or whatever. That hasn't changed. It's just that, it's just now a lot more people and a lot more problems. It sort of reminds me a little bit of this very very unfortunate shooting in Washington D.C., which I've been listening about, which is just, oh God, it's just horrible. And horrible also because I think what it's done, the repercussions of it, the fact that it's now got our fearful leader all worked up about basically anyone who doesn't look white needs to have their passports rechecked or whatever. I mean, it's he's saying like, well, they came from Afghanistan, and it's like, well, it was 200,000 people, like 200,000 people. So put 200,000 Americans together and tell me that there aren't going to be some pretty freaking crazy, potentially dangerous people involved in that too. I don't know. It's just this idea that the world was a wonderful place before, and now look at it. Oh, thank you very much, source code. Just want to say I loved you in SG Stargate. Yay! Real name is Michael King. Thank you, Michael. If you wouldn't mind giving me a shout out, 49 years old, and I still like rewatching Atlantis. Well, I love you for it, Michael. Thank you very much. That was very, very kind of you. Don't have to. I mean, like, thank you, but I feel bad. 10 GP. That's 10 pounds. That's like a mortgage payment here in Toronto, just so you know. Thank you. Trying to teach my dog Vala about leadership. Oh, good luck with that. Vala, very good at leadership. Horrible is our new normal. Don't believe everything the news media says. I agree. Naming her Vala was your first mistake. I know exactly. Yeah, you want an obedient dog? Vala is not the way to go. I appreciate you talk to us on a personal level and not portray yourself as this untouchable actor that is on a pedestal. Voila. Have a look. This is the pedestal on which I have placed myself. In fact, my wife would probably say, "Could you maybe step up a little bit on a pedestal?" Oh my God, I've got the Dilbert hair, Dilbert's boss hair today. You just paid McKay. There you go. Get me a sandwich. There you go. I'm gonna go grab you a sandwich. Indeed, I got the whole series of Atlantis, and I got the whole series of SG1. Wow, DVDs. Remember DVDs? 55 thinks Stargate's the best sci-fi franchise ever. Well, thank you very much, Dan. That's very sweet of you. So this is my Burn and Learn. This is the idea behind this thing is that I freaking hate exercise, but I'm a grumpy old man. I got to do something to maintain some level of health and activity. Apparently, walking the dog is something that 90-year-olds do. That doesn't count as exercise, according to my doctor. So I like to do these things where I will exercise, and while I'm exercising my body, I like to exercise the brain. Because frankly, if I could just, the body's just a pain in the bottom, frankly. Anyways, so what I like to do is I like to listen or watch, or I guess I can't really read on a rowing machine. It's kind of difficult to try to that'd be difficult. Yeah, I could get seasick. So I like to learn something while I'm doing it. And so what I then like to do is get my reward for exercising, which I said earlier, 31 minutes today, 6.6 clicks on the rowing machine. And you don't even get seasick. It's amazing. Yeah. And so yeah, I like to go over that with everybody. I like to sort of regurgitate what I've learned so that I can sort of pontificate about it. And then obviously I pick up the odd thread here and there from you as well. So just so you know what this is all about. Happy to talk about Stargate and all that kind of stuff as well. But it has been a while, so don't expect me to know all the good answers. So basically the idea that Wikipedia is now suddenly going to be faced with this horrible internet, he's basically saying, like, the internet's always had a horrible angle, the way that people have a horrible angle. I mean, listening to the wonderful scientist who works with the chimps, whose name has escaped me for some reason, because I haven't had lunch. That's probably why. The fact that Jane Goodall was saying that she felt that maybe we're born with violence. Maybe we're born with a kind of a violent streak to us. That is part of who we are. And that's what she saw in the chimps as well, that she loved them, and she obviously, appreciated and cherished them, and was a big proponent for their survival. But, she's also not an idiot. She's like, yeah, they're animals. They're dangerous. And I think we are exactly the same. I mean, we can pretend to elevate ourselves, but the reality is there is still an unpredictable, nasty nature to us as well. So I just really worry when I hear, these declarations that we need to reassess everyone who's entered the country. I mean, look at the amount of damage done by people who were born and raised and live in America. I mean, it's not like we have our fair share of psychopaths and awful people. It seems ridiculous to be making those kind of statements. And it also just sounds like a visible immigrant, if that makes sense, right? It's like, I want to make sure that all the non-white people I meet have the proper passports and stuff. And that's what it just sounds like. So that's just a bit frustrating. I just thought it was kind of interesting to hear the guy who ran Wikipedia, who was not talking about this, of course, in any way, shape, or form. He was talking about his book he's got, which is these rules of trust, and how basically when he started Wikipedia, everyone thought it was going to be a disaster because, of course, you can't trust people to do their own, to police themselves, to post valuable information. And he's proven through Wikipedia and its many different versions in different languages that is possible, that it's possible to do that, and that it doesn't have to be a giant corporation doing it. I mean, he's a nonprofit. I mean, he doesn't pay himself. I mean, it's kind of extraordinary what this guy's doing. I mean, I think, Leo Laporte would say he should be on the level of the Einsteins and the Newtons of the world, because he's fundamentally changed our world. And I think that Wikipedia, I don't think he's entirely wrong there. I think there's definitely something to be said for that. That we used to have these big encyclopedias. I used to love paging through those old encyclopedias, just pick a letter or two and just sort of wade through. And I love that stuff. I mean, it's probably where a lot of my interest in science and technology came from, with those things, and just useless facts. As Gary used to say, my brain is a collection of useless facts. I think the encyclopedias are wonderful for that, but the fact that it just made so much sense to move them onto the web. And then how do you do that? And originally they were trying this top-down format where they would, where basically they had a whole very strict system. You had to propose what you were going to add to the this online encyclopedia. I think it was called Newpedia. I think it was called. So what was going to be added. They had a very, very specific list of requirements, and you had to prove that you had all the background you needed. You had to have citations, all sort of just this litany of stuff required to make sure that that data was good, because this is going to go in the encyclopedia. And then how eventually he was faced with the fact that there wasn't enough money or resources to do this, that in 2 years of work, they had like 21 entries or something. So he went on the internet to look up a problem that his daughter had, a medical condition that his daughter had, and he couldn't find any good information on it. And he thought, why? I mean, if I was a father and I know about this thing, how can I share it? And so, the idea that, whatever it is, 25 years or something, 30 years later, I don't know when it started, that, he can now go on and anyone can find information about this very specific medical condition that was troubling his daughter growing up. And along with that, obviously, a million other things. I mean, I remember there was a lot of concern from the educational side of things about whether this was a valid reference. Like, how could this stuff be validated? Is it actually, legit information? Obviously, this stuff can be played and hacked and biased and all the rest of it. I mean, I'm curious to see how something like the Grokpedia that's being created by Elon Musk, I wonder how that holds up to scrutiny. And the idea that he's like, how do we get, he's obviously embraces new technology. He likes the new technology that's there. And Wikipedia, he sort of jumped on this open source system that they had. And so he's now faced with AI. But it was just kind of this lovely conversation, because he wasn't saying, oh God, like, what, it's coming kind of thing. He was like, well, I'm trying to sort of figure out how I can use it in our work. Like, could we use it to, look for dead links, and then it could search for whatever that dead link referred to, and provide one of our human editors with a list of potential replacement links for that would speak to whatever the entry was and validate it. He was playing with a script that would look for, how did it work? You'd look up a subject, or you'd look up an entry, and it would go out and try to find all the information about that entry that he could find, and then have it give a list of citations, and then he can go and look. And again, it always comes down to human oversight on this stuff, because that's what you want. You need someone who's going to make that decision. I mean, sometimes with AI, I'll get a citation and I'll follow it, and it's like it's an empty LinkedIn link or something. I mean, it has no bearing on what I've asked it. And there's also a tendency, I'm sure I've been fed absolute nonsense in some situations, because I'm looking up stuff that I wouldn't understand otherwise. I love the idea that AI opens up some of these scientific papers in a way that I wouldn't be able to do before. Like, I would read the abstracts, and I can sort of wade through the abstracts. On some stuff I'm better at than others, the more familiar I am with stuff. But for the most part, that's where it ends. I mean, the abstract's about as far as I can go. Once I get into the actual paper, it's like, you got to be you've got to be a rocket scientist or a biologist or whatever to understand all this stuff. So it's wonderful for someone like me to be able to get an understanding and have stuff explained to me and be able to sort of question it without, I do even better if you could be questioning the actual person themselves. It'd be fantastic, but obviously you can't do that. There's enough hours in the day, and you also want them off inventing cool new things, right? So I find it very useful that way, and it's just kind of fun to hear this guy. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but you'll see it in your email, because he asks for cash every so often, and I actually do donate to Wikipedia, because we used it so much with Baz growing up with the kid, and I end up on Wikipedia a lot for my email of awesomeness. So like when I'm writing one of my little email blurby things, sometimes I don't know what everything is. I don't know what anything is in many cases. So I like to look it up, because even if it's sometimes just the nuance of these things, I'm like I sort of know what that is. I'm not going to assume that I do. Let's go look it up. Have you noticed when you go to Google that you don't feel like typing, you use voice as you speak, and sometimes when you ask it something, it changes your words around, and that's just annoying. Yeah, Stephen, it does definitely play with that. It's also, I'm finding with Google search, mean, I guess I'm beginning to use the AI stuff a little bit more. I resent that I don't have the choice, that I go to Google to search something and I get this stupid AI thing churning away. And I'm just thinking like, look, dude, I just want to know how to cook chicken. You know what I mean? I don't need an AI generated diatribe about it. I just need some specific facts. And Google was very quick and easy to do that before. And then it became sort of padded with all these ads. And and now the AI, I find it a bit unwieldy, shall we say. It's a bit clippy for those old folks among you. Clippy was this annoying little paperclip that they tried to have an intelligent assistant in the Microsoft Office. Well, I guess it was probably before that. It was probably just Microsoft Word or something at the time. And it invariably would pop up at the worst time in the way and provide you with information you hadn't asked for that was no use to you. And when you did have specific questions, it usually got that wrong as well. So it was just kind of funny. I never get to catch the live Rodney McKay. What? You don't? Why not? Most legendary Stargate character ever. Shaggy DGH, I'd have to agree with you in every way on that. I think that's a very valid statement. I would provide citations for that as well. Hello from Sydney again. Hello, Eric. Sydney. God, we love that city. Fantastic. Hey, we saw you. We saw you watch a video about unclogging a sink. You watched the whole what? You watched the whole video and you must have liked it. We're going to flood your feed with other related videos to clogged sinks. Yeah, oh my God, Feral Terminator. That's totally it. I was just complaining about this with YouTube because Jane and I, will share I pay for YouTube because I don't want the ads, and which I love. I advise everyone. I mean, honestly, like I don't love giving them money, but at the same time, it just makes YouTube so much more enjoyable. So I pay for that. I also like the fact that then, when I watch someone's channel, that money a small, tiny, ridiculous portion of it will go to whoever's done the content. But like I looked up, what did I look up the other day? I was like, I just felt like some British comedy. Like I felt like some good old British, evening stuff. So I was looking up, 8 out of 10 cats and some of that stuff. And I got a few clips of that, watched a few clips of that. Well, now, oh my God, my feed is just flooded with every comedian known to man, which would have been great the night that I was watching that. But today I don't want that. I want to go back to some of the other stuff I was watching. I want to learn about, I want to know my hacking stuff. I want to know my, a little bit of news. I want to know what the latest Arduino projects are, or Raspberry Pi, or what network Chuck's up to. You know what I mean? Like, so there's just, there's stuff. It's just, it is funny how it goes like, you want that? Okay, here, let me give you everything. And you're like, no, I'm flicking this, ad block. It's free. I know, Dr. Drizzle. I get it. I know. It just feels like, I don't know, just a nuisance. You know what? It's just like an added thing I got to get and I got to work. I just, this way I'm like, I know that the people who are making content are getting a little bit of money. I don't mind paying not to have ads. What I really resent, though, is when I pay for a service and then they add ads like freaking Prime does. Do I have to be nice to Prime now? Maybe I have to be nice to Prime now. Not that I was ever bad about Prime, but does that mean like I have to be nice about Amazon because I want to be on the new Stargate show? Is that like, so do I have to suck up to them? I guess I do. What a fantastic company. I can't wait to see what new shows they have. And also The Boys is on Prime too. Oh my God, I'm owned by Prime. Okay. So we love Prime. Anyways, you do have to be nice indeed, Christian. I do. Like Disney, exactly. Guys like, easy day. Just say Prime is awesome. I just disagree with this decision. Yeah, it's true. It's a good way around it. Very good. Very good. Everyone be nice to Prime. They're doing a new Stargate. We all want to see some more Stargates. So let's make sure that we're all very nice to them. But Google, oh damn, their search algorithms, forget it. Anyway, so that was so I don't know why I got off on that tangent, but right, because it was in the chat. Any other learning stuff I wanted to talk about? Wikipedia, yeah. Look, I really feel like that's a good charity. If you want to give some money to them, I think that'd be fantastic. I do use it a lot. I am trying to create a little sound studio in this closet right here. I'm working on trying to figure out what the best way to set that up is, because I find I love the space. It's wonderful to work in, sunny and airy. but it's also open concept. So as you can probably tell, when poor Jane is trying to get work done and I'm babbling on in the background, I am going to interrupt her, and when she laughs, everyone can hear it. So there you go. That's what it's in. General McKay, frickin' A. That's the way to go. I'm McKay, General McKay. Would I be military though? I don't know if I'd be military. I kind of like the idea of him as an Elon Musk type, but like a, with a heart of gold. Man, is this real? You were annoying in Stargate, and you are still annoying, but in a good way. Yep, that's me. I'm here to annoy. Yes, I was annoying in Stargate, and I'm annoying in real life. Well, I guess that's true. It's definitely it's a character choice that I've made. Yeah, absolutely. McKay wasn't military, exactly. You know what I mean? There's a great meme with Chris Judge with the Amazon logo on his forehead, and it's captioned "Amazon's first prime." Oh my God, that is like dad joke good. I've got to say, Rockstar McKay. Oh, Rockstar McKay. What would he do though? Like, what would he do? That would be interesting. I was talking to Agne today about the I'm with Stargate Genius stuff, and she has a genius idea in that she says that I should talk to Isaac Arthur about what would be cool to sort of follow up on with Stargate. Not that I'm not involved in Stargate. I just I'd like to be, but I'm not. But just it might be kind of fun to sort of geek out with Isaac about what we could, what are the sort of the things that would be good to sort of focus in on now that we maybe have the better tools and VFX and an understanding of the world now. In China, Tencent partnered with Myriad to test a new advertising placement video platform. Okay, where a coffee cup in a scene could be replaced with a different branded cup for different viewers. This allows for the integration of ads without interrupting the viewing experience and can be used for both new and old content. Eric Howard, that's amazing. So I was involved in a show here called Traders, which was about the Toronto Stock Exchange, and they experimented with that. There was like a banner ad on the street in one of our episodes, and it was basically a different ad was placed depending on when the show was shown and where the show was shown. So they could have local ads based on, which didn't make a lot of sense now I think about it, because we're in Toronto. The whole thing was set in Toronto. Anyway, but point being is they could have sort of time and date ads that were specific to whenever the show was airing. So it's not old, it's not new technology. They've definitely been doing this for a while. The one that I always laugh at is the ones on soccer pitches or hockey rinks and stuff, that they just got this live replacement of sections of the rink with ads on it. I just it's just amazing. I mean, I was lamenting the other day that the sports teams' uniforms have more logos than they do their names. I mean, it's hard to find the names of the freaking teams compared to all the logos. Lead scientist on the head team. Yeah, exactly. Maybe a consultant, or my pitch for the show always was that we should do Stargate Academy. That's what they've done with Star Trek now. But long before that, I was saying we should do Stargate Academy, because then you get all your young, sexy, new Stargate recruits, and then you can wheel in us old folks every so often to sort of, spice things up a bit. And then, I could come in and yell at people, and it'd be like Sam Carter could be the principal. I'd be like this Snape-like VP, maybe something like that. My son has just bought shoes. That's good to know. I get updates now because he's not here. He's not here. What do you do when the kid leaves? I move into the closet. It's kind of sad, isn't it? Hey, folks. Hi, David. Hope everyone's good. Very good. Thank you, Organic Creations. I found it hilarious how McKay destroyed. Okay, why does everyone have to bring up the damn destroying of solar systems? You keep that to yourself, Lily. I was contracted by the military. Yeah, right. So excited about the Stargate show. I hope you will have a cameo, maybe. Yeah, I'm thinking like cameo, or I'll make the breakfast sandwiches. It's like one for you, one for me. One for you. General McKay, not actually a rank. It's just the name of the company he started. Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. Star Pilot 6. I call myself General McKay because it's, or like, the ministry of, I'm a minister of intelligence. There is none, but I, make that up myself. President McKay, even better. Yeah, although unlikely somehow. I can't imagine anyone voting for McKay. Wait a second. What am I saying? What am I saying? What the world do we live in? Dealing with the Wraith? No, the new series could tell a story of how ancients created them. When McKay went emotional and real, we all felt it. Yeah, well, that's just, or as I call it, weakness. James Gertie's here. Hey, James. How are you, buddy? Turned off my watch and search history and add personalization settings. It's not perfect, but at least I don't get aggressively blasted with targeted ads videos quite as much. Opal Mist. Hello, Opal Mist, by the way. That's interesting. I mean, I literally looked at, there's an Android operating system you can get. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's like an open source operating system for your phone. So, and it basically operates under the premise that you want everything locked down. I have a sneaking suspicion, as much as I'd love to geek out with that, it would probably drive me mad, because I like to do things like this. Like, I want to do a little stream on my camera. God knows what you'd have to do to let that happen on this operating system. But it is something I'm thinking about looking into, because it's kind of creepy. You know what I mean? Like, I was, talking about health with someone the other day, and next thing you know, you're getting ads about, the things that you're talking about. I'm like, holy crap, what the, I understand they're listening to everything. Obviously, they're, the fact that you could say whatever the keywords are to get them started means that they have to be to some extent. But if we don't think they're basically mining every little bit of data that they've got, forget it. It's we're walking around with film studios and entire spy organizations in our phone. Little aside here. I got to bed early enough last night for once that I actually had some time to read a book that's on dead trees. Amazing. It's this gas giant Gambit, and I got to say, I'm really enjoying it. Like, it's kind of silly, but it's also just kind of a fun, entertaining sort of a romp of a book. I think it's only available in paperback. Like, it's this guy's first book, and I think it's a guy. I don't know for that matter. I think so. Yeah, I recommend it. It might be some fun Christmas reading if you get to sort of curl up by the fire and want to do some reading. It's definitely, I've definitely been enjoying it. My Prime is not working on my Roku. Have you tried to reverse the polarity? Yeah, it's, it is. It's probably the, what do they use in I started watching, Stranger Things. Started watching Stranger Things, and they mentioned the flux capacitor. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. What do people think of that, by the way? What do people think of Pluribus? I am liking Pluribus. I was really concerned that we were going to get to the point where I just couldn't stand her anymore, because she's a little too like people I know, like myself. And the whole premise of the idea that the most unhappy person in the world has to save the world from happiness. It's just kind of a fun concept. I love this guy. I mean, Vince Gillian. I love his stuff. Absolutely love it. It's always original and fresh, and he messes with your mind and bounces around and comes back to things in just an extraordinarily clever way. I mean, I feel like he's a nerd. Like, I feel like he's like a writer nerd. He's so good at it. But yeah, so I was worried about this sort of this unlikable character, but I'll tell you, every time I sit down to it going like, I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm going to, I'm just like sucked back in again. So it's really kind of fun to see. I had a great chat today, by the way. Oh my God. We talked to Justin about space archaeology today. Agne almost lost her mind. She was like so excited about this. And Justin, it's just amazing. I'll try to see if I can share some of the stuff before we have our chat, which I don't think will be for, it's going to be a couple of weeks, I think, at least before we can do that. But just amazing, like an absolute, as Agne said, like a paradigm shift in how you look at this stuff. Like, how do you apply archaeological sort of skills and tactics to our space related, to the space station, basically, is one of the is a big focus for him. And it's just absolutely, I was completely sucked in. We were supposed to have like a 10-minute call just to sort of let him know how the I'm with Stargate Genius thing worked, but we just dived in and we're like, he's like, "Do you want me to?" I was like, "Yeah." And we just like sat there. Like this is the thing. Like I think selfishly, I do these I'm with Stargate Genius chats because I just want to learn stuff. And then it's like, well, yeah, I guess I'll look better if I share it with people. So that's what I'm doing with these. Really, basically, I get conversations with people who I find interesting, and doing things that I'm fascinated by, and then I sort of begrudgingly share it with everyone. So there will be a new one coming out today. I have to record a little sort of greeting, and then I'll post it up on Spotify as well. You should check those out. They are just so much fun. Have you involved? Where are you involved with Joe when he tried to buy Stargate? He talked about that. I thought that was a really interesting idea. The idea of like bringing together a bunch of outside capital and buy the franchise and then keep it going. I thought that was it's fascinating. Joe's got a really good brain on that stuff. Like Joe's got a very sort of entrepreneurial mind about this stuff, and he's not afraid to take big leaps on this stuff. I am much more cautious. I'm much more of a hypochondriac, and I don't have as good hair. So it's a different world for me. You and Michael really made my love for history and science grow when I was younger. How important was it for you to be as close to science accurate when you were on Stargate? First time viewer for you. Is it the first time you've been in here? Oh, great. Well, welcome, Matthew Cope. I think you'll quite enjoy it. There's a lot of fellow nerds in here. It's a little community of nerds, and we love geeking out about this stuff. Thank you. First off, yeah. I mean, look, the Stargate thing I loved even as a movie because I just loved that sort of connection. The way the idea that sort of ancient Egypt was facilitated by an alien race and technology. It's such a brilliant idea. Like it's an absolute. There's a concept. It's brilliant. The idea of it moving to television. I think I would have gone like, really? But it worked really well. Why? Because it focused on the characters and such. And I think, the specifics of the science and the technology and stuff, I was always very interested in what I was saying, obviously, because I want to know, I want to get a sense of what these things were and how these things worked. But the reality is the science was done. It was the writers. I mean, the writers handled that stuff. I never really questioned it. I mean, I suppose the stuff that came up that was obviously seemed weird. There's a couple of things, I guess but they were just like, they weren't issues with the science so much as they were just issues with saying one thing and then saying something a little later kind of thing. It was just sort of tracking. And after a while on a show, when you're playing a character, you are the person who knows most about that character because you're playing it every freaking day. Every episode is, like classic actors, we only care about our own stuff. It's like, oh, there are other people talking this. But the reality is you become kind of the Wikipedia for your own character because you've been living with this character for so long. So there was just that kind of stuff. But honestly, the science was never a problem for me on Stargate because the people who were writing it were very, very smart, very science-oriented writers and who knew their stuff and did their research. And there were science consultants, there were math consultants. So yeah, that wasn't really a concern for me. The only thing I really focused on for myself was just getting even just a tertiary understanding of the underlying technologies that we're talking about, like the ideas of 0-point modules, the idea of wormholes and, replicators, all that. I mean, I enjoyed it. You know what? It's all lifelong learning for me. Right. So anything that I found fascinating, I would dive into just for my own pleasure. Right. And it's kind of nice to have a sense of this stuff. So you can, it's all extra information that can speak to whatever the role is that you're playing or whatever the scene is that you're doing. So how many ZPMs do we need to power Earth? I don't think we need ZPMs. I think we gotta figure something else out. You know what I mean? Like I feel like, first of all, I think we need more of the, I know it's maybe not popular, but I think we need to stop this, getting all our knickers in a twist about nuclear power, because I think that just makes the most sense. I mean, yes, the damage done should it go wrong is catastrophic to some extent. well, to a great extent. But look what look what the fossil fuels have done. You know what I mean? Like, I know their half-life's nowhere near what the irradiated, spent fuel would be. But at the same time, I feel like we've proven over and over and over again that we suck at maintaining it. That there's we're blowing each other up. We're driving trains too fast. We're contaminating waterways and oceans, and so I think nuclear. We should be doing a lot more of the nuclear stuff. I'm very excited by these liquid salt, some modular reactors. So they're smaller systems. Like, I don't know how small they get. The smallest I've seen is basically one of those storage containers, like one of those like those freight containers on shipping vessels. And the idea is you just add as many of those as you need to power things. But that opens up, parts of the world and potentially parts of the ocean, maybe, that would be unavailable to us before, because you can power things in a way that you just couldn't before. And also, ideally not in a non-polluting way as well. I'm also very interested in hydrogen power. I think the green hydrogen would be amazing. Like, we could figure that out. That'd be freaking awesome. Water and oxygen as the byproduct. I mean, that'd be freaking amazing. As always, I don't think there will be one solution. Like, Zebiums would be amazing, but I don't think it's going to just be one thing. I think it's going to be a combination of things, obviously. Solar, solar just seems like I don't understand why everything isn't. There should be freaking solar panels on everything. It just makes sense. Unless you're living in somewhere that gets no sun, or you're under 6 feet of snow all the time, and even then, you can probably figure out something to make it work. I was watching a video the other day on a power source that was just compost, where basically the compost would heat up as the bacteria and such broke down the wood chips, and then that would heat it up, and then you could heat water that way. You could then use it to generate electricity. There's just this. It's going to be a hybrid solution to our energy issues for sure. And we're going to need to figure it out pretty quickly, because we're building these massive data centers. We've got Google spitting out AI answers to everything, like we were just complaining about before. Well, that's going to be, that's got to be fueled somehow. But I also remember this being a problem with crypto. When crypto was first happening, they were like, "Oh my God, crypto's using the power of a small country," and I'm sure AI is as well. I'm also sure the internet is. I'm also sure advertising is. There's fast fashion. There's all sorts of issues that we've got to sort of figure out. But yeah, power is definitely. I think we should be investing in energy, ideally green energy. I know that you can't just it's not as simple as turning off the oil and starting on electric. I know that's not the way it works, but certainly, continually improving fuel economy, continually working on new solutions that don't involve burning old dinosaurs. It's not actually burning old dinosaurs, is it? Wasn't really dinos. It was more the foliage, wasn't it? Anyways, McKay had a lab accident with the time machine and is stuck in time with the ancient, doesn't realize he is no longer the smartest person in the room. He's never going to realize that. McKay is never going to realize he's not the smartest person in the room. It's never going to happen. I would, like I said, it's Heck and Heather. I'd love to join the new series. I'd love to join the new series. That would be amazing. But yeah, there's no, I got nothing. I know nothing. Hey, great to catch you live. Just wanted to say McKay is one of my favorite characters from Atlantis. You're a great actor. Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for being a big part of my childhood. Oh my God. Well, it just sounds creepy. I've been watching you break Fox. I've been watching you since you were a child. Thank you. This is why I'm doing the I'm with Stargate Genius stuff. Is because, thanks to people, I love people coming up and saying, like, I'm an astrophysicist and I'm a jerk because of you. People come up all the time and talk about Stargate and how it inspired them into the sciences and, or even into the arts for that matter. I mean, I'm not going to hold that against you. But predominantly it is people talking about their love of science. And that was me as a kid. Like, that was me watching Doctor Who and going like, I want this to be real. How do I make it real? How do I make that thing, these technologies happen. I want to know how they work. How do they do that? How could they do that? Like it's just so much fun. So that's sort of why I'm sort of trying to pivot a little bit, towards having these conversations with people who are just doing really cool things that people might not know about. Not because they need the attention, but because I think these different fields are things that, as a kid, I'd be like, you could do space law, you could do space archaeology. Like there's all this stuff out there that I didn't even know existed as an option. Like people need to know that. And I think, source code. Thank you again. I just think it needs to be. I just want to share this stuff, try to get it out there, because there's just so many different things you could be doing, and I worry that people get pigeonholed very quickly. Certainly, someone like me who was not the best student or person, for that matter, probably. Why have I lost the ability to scroll? Damn it! I missed the. How did that happen? Did I miss something? How did I miss? Ah, damn it! Did I just scroll past? Someone with the source code was just very kind and made a donation, and then I scrolled right by it, and I can't find it again because I'm on a little tiny phone and I got the eyes of a 90-year-old. Oh my God, and Nat Goodwin? Geez, everyone's being very nice. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I'm sorry, I don't know what are the ones I've missed. But thank you. Nat Goodwin again. Fan character sending hearts with their hands. I love it when they explains an emoji. Emoji's always just like, okay, this is it. Fan character sending hearts with their hands. Thank you, Nat Goodwin. That's very kind of you. What else have I missed? Oh God, people are very kind, and I thank you very much for doing this. But I'm so terrible at this. Where are we at? Did I get everyone? My God, this chat is huge. How many people are here? 140 people. What the heck? 140 people want to watch the old Stargate guy, sweaty and grumpy, complaining about having to exercise. I do not understand it, but I love you for it. I'd love to see David on the next Blue Origin flight because Shatner already did. Oh, man. I threw up everywhere. I don't just play a coward on television with Bill the Scotsman. I am also a coward. I also think that I'm not sure about this space tourism thing. I mean, like, I think it's good to get the word out, I suppose, but I worry a little bit about, you get Kate Perry and everyone going into space. I feel a bit like I'll be completely honest. I wish it was all robots. I think that we spend I know we have to as a race. You want to get out there and you want to, we need explorers. We need humans to go out. I get that. I just wish that wasn't so much of the focus. I feel like we have to spend so much time and resources just to make a very uninhabitable place like space even slightly less dangerous for us as humans, us little bags of chemicals that we are. And I would just rather see, the robots getting out there. I want to see, because they can go further, they can see more, they can do more. I think we learn a lot more with more robots. So I think it's a great thing. We got, is a Canadian going around the moon, eh? That's pretty freaking cool, eh? Here, hold my beer. I'm going around the moon. I think that's cool. I think it's necessary. I think it's, I don't want to dismiss all astronauts, but I just think that I guess it's a sort of a primitive desire to have humans out there. I just think we can, frankly, spend a lot less time and energy and have some amazing robotics out there doing the exploration for us. And then once we've sort of mastered some more of this stuff, then we can work on getting people out there. I just worry that, it's just all, just the amount of stuff we got to bring up, the amount of stuff we have to contend with when we're up there, from the radiation to the food to the getting along in tiny, tight spaces, is all this stuff. I'm fascinated by it and I love it. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but the robots can do, we got satellites have already left our solar system. I mean, it's just freaking awesome. Humans can't do that. They're not coming back if we do that. British-born Canadian, do come back to the UK. Our country is very dumb. We need more smart people. Really, Layla Spellwind, I got to say, I've been watching the British comedy shows. The Brits are freaking hilarious. Like when they are on, their humor is so smart, so quick. It's so fast. I just can't get over how, and topical and intelligent. I despair, from the North American side of stuff. I mean, obviously it depends on what you're watching and where, but I always gravitate back to these brilliant British raconteurs who can just sort of go back and forth and make a little political jab, and then followed by a self-facing joke and historical mention, and it's extraordinary what they do. So I don't know. You may feel that Britain feels dumb right now, but man, there's some genius happening there. Absolute genius. So you just gotta find the right stuff, I think. British sitcoms are weird to me because it's always some flawed character whose flaws put them in terrible situations, the exact structure of Greek tragedy. Yeah, it works though, Elizabeth with the Z, doesn't it? I mean, like, I love those characters. David, you know I'm English. John David Davenport, you are British. You are English, are you? I too am English. Get this. So I was born in England, raised in Canada, moved to America. I have 3 freaking passports. I'm like Jason Bourne with one language and no skills, really, other than pretending to be Jason Bourne type people. I better get out of here. Thank you so much. This is great. I've watched 2 of the 4 episodes of Stranger Things. That's all so far. Lunar Gateway will be the pit stop, and then Moon Colony, mining helium-3 after that. That would be amazing. Golden Axe XXX age. Golden Axe. It's not Golden Axe. It's Golden Age. Yeah, it's funny. We're talking about that today as well. The idea that we're going back to do that. I love that. I think that makes sense. We expand, we move out. We continue that way. I just think that from a space exploration standpoint, I'm not really keen on hurling humans at Mars. I don't see the point of that particularly. Other than, I guess, you get to grandstand about being the first people there, I guess, or whatever. But honestly, to me, the true magical feats of engineering and science exploration are those freaking rovers. Like, that was the coolest. I'm spitting everywhere. I'm so excited. It was just the coolest stuff ever, right? They're autonomous vehicles on another planet, driving around, taking samples, analyzing them, sending it back to Earth. Like, you don't get cooler than that, in my mind. Humans floating around, you're like, oh God, they're gonna hit something, or we're just like we're like these fragile. I'm too neurotic to be an astronaut. Yeah. Oh my God, I got a space flu. I gotta lie down. I'd also be throwing up the entire time because I get motion sickness. So yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you very, very much for being here. It's been a pleasure. I will tell you to do this. I will say go to techbandits.org, where you will find a link for something called the Email of Awesome Awesomeness. And if you want to keep in touch, that is the way to do it. I like to sort of, when I find some cool things that I get excited about, or I have I'm with Stargate Genius coming up or something like that, I will send an email out to you for that. So do sign up to that. It would be, trying to get that together, trying to get like a good following on that, because I'm truly going off the social media stuff. I'm finding it a bit, it doesn't make me feel good, shall we say. I used to love Twitter. I used to find all these science things and scientists and all that kind of stuff. And now I just feel like I always end up getting stopped dead by some horrible piece of news or a fight or something. So yeah, I'm sort of trying to sort of, pull myself back from the social media stuff, but I also don't want to lose touch with people, because this is so much fun to do. So I will continue doing this kind of thing. I don't really consider this social media. Maybe I should, but yeah, like the Twitters and the Facebooks and all, I'm struggling with it a bit more these days than I have in the past. So I think I would like to sort of build that up. So techbandits.org, hop on over there and sign yourself up for the Email of Awesomeness. It's free. It's just I'd love to get you on the list, because it just helps me out with keeping in touch, and also just being able to say to people like, hey, look, we got like over 1,000 people are interested in this tech stuff. We should do something else. Let's go do a TV show or something about tech science or something. Anyway, so there's that. Yeah, I'm out of here. I will say, be brave, be kind, be brilliant, cheerio, and huzzah, because huzzah's the dog. And I'll talk to you later, and then I'll get distracted and I won't leave. Twitter is terrible. I agree. It's true. Yeah. So this is me saying goodbye. I say goodbye, and then there's like 20 minutes of me just, still trying to fear of missing out. Like I got the FOMO. I don't want to miss any of the little chats that are coming up. Huzzah! All right, everyone. Thanks again. Talk to you soon. When am I going to be back? I guess Monday. Probably Monday. No. You know what? I should probably try to exercise through the weekend because I have to work on Tuesday. So that will be a day off. I will not be exercising on Tuesday. I get to shoot another episode of The Boys. Oh, not The Boys, but The Boys. It's this sequel to The Boys. It's Vought Rising. It's called. It's amazing. So I get to do that on Tuesday. So I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. and exercising. That is, I do not do that. That is not what I'm doing. So, all right, this is me saying goodbye. As always, thank you much. Talk to you soon. And